In the heart of the Ironstone Mountains, where the ancient halls of the dwarves lay, a new menace had arisen. Bromir's son, Thane Thargrim, now ruled over the Ironstone halls. 30 years had passed since the end of the Great War, but the scars of that conflict remained etched in the minds and hearts of the dwarves. Thargrim, a stout and resolute leader, bore the weight of his father's legacy and the responsibility of protecting his people. Rumours of the Dark Life's resurgence had spread like wildfire. Scouts reported sightings of twisted creatures emerging from the shadows, gathering in the abyssal wastes, and advancing towards the dwarven strongholds. Thargrim knew that a storm was brewing, one that would test the mettle of his warriors and the fortitude of their ancient halls. The attack came on a moonless night. The air was thick with an unnatural chill, and the sky was devoid of stars. Thargrim stood on the battlements of Ironstone Pass, his keen eyes scanning the darkness. The ground began to tremble, and a low, ominous growl echoed through the mountains. The Dark Life had arrived. Undead knights, their armour rusted and their eyes glowing with malevolent light, led the charge. Behind them, hulking ogres, twisted by dark magic, lumbered forward, their massive clubs smashing the rocky ground. Swarms of smaller, shadowy creatures skittered and shrieked, creating a cacophony of terror. "Ready yourselves!" Thargrim's voice boomed, echoing through the pass. His warriors, clad in gleaming armour and wielding finely crafted axes and hammers, formed a formidable line. They had trained for this moment, their hearts steeled against the fear that gripped lesser beings. The battle began with a clash of steel and a roar of defiance. Thargrim led the charge, his warhammer Grimstrike glowing with a fierce light as it met the dark blades of the undead. The dwarves fought with a ferocity born of desperation and pride, their axes cleaving through armour and bone. Thargrim found himself face to face with an undead knight, its eyes burning with an unholy fire. The knight swung its sword with deadly precision, but Thargrim parried the blow and countered with a crushing strike to the knight's helm, shattering it and sending the creature crumbling to the ground. Around him, the battle raged. Dwarven archers rained down arrows from the battlements, their shafts finding marks in the shadowy hordes below. Engineers unleashed their mechanical constructs, flamethrowers and catapults, hurling fiery death into the ranks of the enemy. The air was thick with the smell of burning flesh and the metallic tang of blood. Despite the dwarves' valour, the Dark Life forces pressed on with relentless ferocity. An ogre smashed through the dwarven lines, scattering warriors like leaves in a storm. Thargrim rallied his men, charging at the beast with a roar. He swung Grimstrike with all his might, striking the ogre's knee and bringing the massive creature crashing down. A swift, final blow to the head ended its rampage. Yet, even as they felled the ogre, more creatures poured into the pass. Thargrim knew they needed a decisive move to turn the tide. He ordered his engineers to prepare the ancient mechanism, a last resort weapon buried deep within the mountains. "Hold the line!" he bellowed, buying time for the engineers. The dwarves formed a tight shield wall, their resolve unwavering. Thargrim fought at the forefront, his hammer a blur of lethal precision. The engineers activated the mechanism, and the ground beneath the Dark Life army trembled. A section of the pass collapsed, revealing a hidden chamber filled with volatile black powder. With a signal from Thargrim, the engineers ignited the chamber, sending a massive explosion, ripping through the enemy ranks. The blast was deafening, a fiery inferno that consumed the Dark Life creatures. The dwarves shielded their eyes from the blinding light and the heat. When the smoke cleared, the once formidable army of shadows lay in ruins, their twisted forms scattered and broken. The dwarves stood victorious, but the cost was high. The battlefield was littered with the bodies of the fallen, both friend and foe. Thargrim, bloodied but unbowed, surveyed the scene with grim satisfaction. They had defended their home, but he knew this was only the beginning. The Dark Life was a relentless foe, and more battles lay ahead. As the dawn broke over the Ironstone Mountains, the dwarves began the sombre task of tending to their dead and fortifying their defences. Thargrim stood atop the battlements, his eyes fixed on the horizon. He vowed to protect his people, no matter the cost, and to honour the legacy of his father. In the halls of Ironstone, the songs of the fallen would be sung and their deeds remembered. The Battle of Ironstone Pass would become a legend, a testament to the courage and resilience of the dwarves in the face of the Shadows reborn.
In ages old, where mountains stood, in realms of stone and ancient wood, the dwarves of Ironstone made their stand against the dark, a noble band. Hear the tale of Ironstone Pass, where courage soared the shadows masked. With hearts of fire and hammers strong, they battled fierce and battled long. Under moonless skies, the doom did spread. Dark life horrors, by shadows led. Undead knights with eyes aflame, ogres roared and chaos came. Hear the tale of Ironstone Pass, where courage soared the shadows masked. With hearts of fire and hammers strong, they battled fierce and battled long. In the mist, bold Thargrim stood, with grim street bright, his heart of good. Stand firm, brave kin, let valor flow, for Ironstone shall never bow. Engineers in caverns deep woke ancient fires from their sleep. With molten fury, the darkness broke, and thunder echoed whole. Hear the tale of Ironstone Pass, where courage soared the shadows masked. With hearts of fire and hammers strong, they battled fierce and battled long. Thargrim's cry, a rallying call. Rise, my kin, we shall not fall. Through the flames, their spirits soared. The tide was turned by a dwarven sword. Hear the tale of Ironstone Pass, where courage soared as shadows masked. With hearts of fire and hammers strong, they battled fierce and battled long. Now songs of Ironstone fill the air, of battles won with valor rare. Where shadows rise and shadows pass, but never shall they break our glass.
If you're enjoying the story of Eldoria, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated.